This has been a brutal market for formerly beloved high-flying growth stocks like cybersecurity plays. Take Palo Alto Networks, PANW, which I've long considered best of breed in the group. Last year, the stock were 40% higher, but after peaking in early December, Palo Alto's been plummeting. Now it's down roughly 25% in less than 2 months. Even though the market has turned hostile, we need to remember that this company has some of the best growth around. Think longer term, people. So is Palo Alto worth buying at these levels? Earlier today, I got a chance to check in with Mark McLaughlin. He's the chairman and CEO of Palo Alto Networks, along with Brent Jones, three-time Super Bowl champion with the 49ers, who is now a managing director at Northgate Capital, which was an early investor in Palo Alto. Take a look. Mark and Brent, I'm thrilled to have you, and I think that one of the things I want to solve is this disconnect. There haven't been a lot of high-profile front-page New York Times hacks of late, and therefore I think the stocks have sagged. But that is a lull in maybe our own sensibilities. We should not think that this is an over and solved issue.
Far from it. I think the hacks actually continue, the attacks continue. Data we have that they're on the rise. They may not be as widely publicized or the big brand names, but they're definitely happening.
And Brent, you're an investor and you know these things. I mean, you could invest in anything. I mean, your venture capital, and of course, congratulations on 3 rings because you're a Super Bowl guy. But a Super Bowl guy, you could invest in any trend. Is this still one of the great secular trends?
Jim, I really do. I think it is. We were fortunate to be investors back in 2008. I think the addressable market continues to grow significantly. And with the onset, not only of the data centers, but smartphones have become ubiquitous, and the total addressable market, like we say globally, continues to expand. And we were fortunate to be at the right time, right place, right technology, right leadership, and the confluence of all these events working together. We think security still going forward is a major play.
And I know, Mark, you have explained to me a long time ago, and you know I've been a backer of Palo Alto for years, that not all solutions are the same. Some companies are actually not even attacking a solution. If you want it stopped ahead, it seems like that you offer the solution that has got the best market share, but it could grow.
Well, the market's huge, and we see this giant paradigm shift happening. It takes time for it to happen, which is legacy point products that are primarily reactive in nature that lead to manual responses when you have a highly automated problem. And that's giving way very quickly to next generation platforms that are primarily prevention oriented and proactive in nature, and that's what we have uniquely. I think that's why you see us continue to grow so nicely.
It's interesting. One of your conferences, and you guys have been very transparent. Someone mentions, well, isn't Amazon a threat to you guys? Amazon, a lot of these companies want to come in, and you did not respond that it's a threat.
No, I think that's probably an opportunity, and what people are thinking about is if things move to the cloud, right? If there's not things on premise any longer, is that a problem for folks who have solutions that are on prem? Right. You know, what I noted at these conferences was in our business years ago we completely virtualized everything so that it can operate in the cloud, and it does today in Amazon Web Services and Azure and other private cloud environments. So that's actually been an additive to our business.
Well, I think that's important because people always feel like, well, wait a minute, the stock's been down a lot. Is it at Amazon? Who's doing it? Brent, there's a great paper called Flipping the Economics of Attacks. It's Poneman, you guys sponsored, where they actually talk about whether the bad guys make more money than the good guys and where the bad guys are interested in attacking. It seems like it's kind of like if all of your doors are locked in a car, they'll go after another car. Is the same thing if someone sees that you have a Palo Alto sign on it, maybe they go to the guy that doesn't have it?
You know, Jim, I think the Palo Alto sign certainly is significant in the marketplace, becoming more significant. It's interesting just because of the cyclicality of the market. I think we're seeing some of the companies that have gotten a lot of press, they've been exposed as just features. And one of the things that people realize is a feature isn't a platform like Palo Alto has. And the product extensions, the lines that they've developed and continue to innovate in really has turned away the bad guys, so to speak.
It did say that you guys pay more than the bad guys could pay. So it's almost like crime doesn't pay, even though it seems like the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Maybe some of these people should go to jail for a longer time because they're sticking up a 7-Eleven in a lot of ways and not making just $140.
Yeah, well, in most of these cases, it is a crime what they're doing, right? But what the interesting thing about that study, what it showed is that the time that it takes for somebody to try to breach a defense, right? If it's a certain amount of time longer, they will move on.
Right.
That's what we're saying.
They're trying to figure out how to make a living too, even
Exactly.
though it's a criminal living. Brent, you can invest in any trend, and we see certain trends be really taking off. Obviously, the cloud is great, but in your the vast panoply of what you want to invest in, is it still cybersecurity? Even though we know that the big headline Home Depot hacks are behind us.
You know, I think there's variations, Jim, of the marketplace that are still developing, and as you know, we don't know what the bad guys are coming up with next, and that's why the relationship with Palo Alto, Mark, they certainly have their eyes on the ground and what's going on, and people are certainly aware, and we're looking at companies and the fundings and the potential of new cybersecurity companies. But do we believe that there is something on the horizon that's going to have the platform-like characteristics of Palo Alto? No, we think Palo Alto was that company here 7 or 8 years ago, building that next generation firewall while everybody else was still in the first generation dumb firewall landscape. And so things have changed drastically, and now we believe that long-term Palo Alto continues to be the dominant player. And so for those new companies, I'm sure Mark on the M&A front is always keeping his eyes and ears open, and they, as you know, a couple years ago, they made a real significant strategic investment, Cyvera. It's been an outstanding acquisition, the integration. So we just believe that they're going to be like Cisco was in the 90s in the networking and switch business. Certainly not the security business, because we're ripping them out and replacing them across the board.
Well, I think the important term I'm going to defer to a man who's been in the Super Bowl and won 3 times is this long term, because a lot of people are losing hope. They see the stock go from, say, 190 to 140, think there's something wrong. From what I hear from you two gentlemen, that's just a mistake.
What I'm seeing is that we've seen people report in the security industry already. We're in our quiet period, but nobody's talked about declining demand.
There we go. Well, let's leave it at that, because there's a lot of declining demand happening all over the country. Mr. Mark McLaughlin, Chairman, President, CEO of Palo Alto Networks, and Brent Jones, 3-time Super Bowl champ, Managing Director of Northgate Capital. Think longer term, Palo Alto. Stay with Cramer. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.